Welcome to the Champagne Society. We believe every mama deserves a break and some bubbly. And normalizing the struggle of the mama juggle reminds us we're always doing better than we think, and we're in this together. I'm your host, Gervase Kolmos, mom of three and certified mindset coach for moms. Each week, we'll be having unfiltered conversations with other inspiring entrepreneurial moms to hear their real life moments and lessons learned on what it actually takes to make it motherhood and instead of motherhood or. Pour yourself a drink and lock yourself in the bathroom because I have a potty mouth and I never have just one glass of wine. As my 4-year-old says,
let's talk about important things.
hello. Welcome to the last podcast episode of 2020. Thank you so much to all of you who have sent me messages and been so supportive as I dip my toe into the podcast YouTube world. There's been quite a learning curve, but I'm okay with that. I am okay with sloppy starts, and I just feel like it's getting more and more fun and easier and easier. And today we have an awesome podcast for you with Ell Alexander. She is a breath of fresh air. I know you will love her as much as I do. And also she needs some advice from you guys about weaning her baby off her boob. So make sure you DM her at Ell Alexander, Jayell Alexander on Instagram. Give her some advice because she was asking about weaning. And I was like, my community can deliver. And before we dive in, I want to make sure you know about my new program, Becoming. It starts January 11th. It is 6 weeks. 6 modules, you get lifetime access. And we're going to go over the 6 pillars a woman needs to become the mother she was born to be. There's going to be some vision casting for 2021, which I don't know about you, but I am like very ready to cast the vision and say bye-bye to all of the challenges of 2020. There's also going to be a lot of permission giving you to own it. There's going to be exercises actually forcing you to ask yourself the hard questions that we often just skim over when we're a very busy, ambitious mother, that would actually make our lives so much easier and make us feel more fulfilled, more well-rounded, happier, have more joyful relationships, make it easier for us to pour into ourselves, back to the permission piece. And I'm really pumped to be offering 5 VIP coaching spots with this program. So if you're wanting to work with me specifically on the mom thing, if you've got littles around the same age as I do, which a lot of my community does, this is the coaching program for you. It's super affordable for VIP coaching. It comes with lifetime access to Becoming and all of like the master classes and the conversations and the Facebook group. But it also includes the hypnotherapy and the custom hypnosis track and one-on-one attention from me 6 weeks in a row for an hour where you like dive deep into what are the stories that you're telling yourself that are really blocking you from becoming. Because a lot of us, we stay stuck in victimhood. We know that we're doing it, but we can't seem to stop doing it. It's okay if that's you. That's been all of us. But it's really hard to do that without a coach or somebody holding you accountable and like asking you those hard questions and giving you some tough love. And if you feel like I'm the coach for you, I would love to be the person that lights a fire under your ass, but also witnesses you, allows you to be seen, heard, but also encourages you to rise, because that's what you need to really shed the skin of the woman you used to be and become the mama that your kids need. So I am really pumped to like pour myself into this program and work with some of the moms with littles in my community. And it's just like a really hands-on way to work with me. If you have any questions, email me, hello@thechampsociety.com or go to gervasekolmos.com/coaching to join us. Just join us already. Okay. Without further ado, the last podcast of 2020. Ell Alexander. I am so excited to have Ell Alexander here on the pod. Thank you for your time. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me, Gervase. I'm super excited.
I'm going to just quickly introduce you, and then we're going to dive into all the things motherhood but Ell lives in Richmond, Virginia with her husband, Chris, son, Chris Jr., who is 15 months, right?
Yep, he's 15 months.
15 months, and their pup, Luna. She is a PR practitioner with a genuine commitment to giving back to the local community through her passion for communications, health, and fitness. She is the founder and CEO of the Vaughn Strategy, a public relations strategy consulting firm. And in April 2018, the Vaughn Strategy became the owner and CEO of Black Girls Run, acquiring the national running organization after 6 years of serving as the organization's PR director and national manager. Yeah. Woo! So I brushed shoulders with you at RebelleCon 2-ish years ago, right?
Yeah.
Which, like, I feel, I don't know about you, but like, I was a different woman when you met me last, right?
Well, I probably was a different woman too.
Yeah.
I wasn't pregnant. I didn't have kids.
That's right.
I probably weighed 100 pounds heavier. So a lot has changed.
Oh, that's a lot. Okay. So I guess you go first since, this is about you. I have so many things I want to dive into with you because I love that you are so open about, your experience of becoming a mother. And I really wanted to meet you as a mom. I love seeing people on the other, like before they become mothers and then on the other side to see how it molds and shapes you, because I do think there are so many amazing changes that happen. So I'm excited that that's when this conversation is happening. But yeah. I kind of wanted to ask you before we dive into, how it's going. What did you anticipate motherhood was going to be like?
To be honest with you, Gervase, I don't know what I expected. I don't know if I thought it would be easier. Mm-hmm. Maybe just had these like thoughts of, oh, my child will be perfect. And, he won't be spoiled. No, he'll eat every food on his plate. Like, you just have these like false, like dreams of what your child will be. And I love my child to death, but man, some days are just so tough. And I don't think I expected this. Or you almost have like this, you see like super moms doing like everything and their child is here, they're still holding down the fort and, making it work as a mom and a wife. But you don't see the struggle behind the scenes until you're actually in it. And so that's probably what I had wrong about this whole thing. Like, motherhood, it's work. As much as it's rewarding, it's work as well.
Yeah. Wait, I love what you said about super moms, because I've been actually thinking about this a lot myself because, I try to be really transparent about my own challenges as a mom, but just as a woman, because I do think that look at this random thing. That's just a piece of my computer is magnetized to my microphone and it's in the video shot and I didn't even notice.
I didn't either.
Awkward. What was I saying?
So Supermom,
right. And so I try to share the speed at which I can move every time I add a baby, because I do feel like I don't want to perpetuate this supermom myth, because I feel like every time I talk to a woman, a mother specifically, who I think is supermom, she shares that like, actually, it's, the juggle is real and it's, there's challenges just like anything else. And that doesn't mean that it's all bad all the time. And it doesn't mean that motherhood isn't going really well. But I really want to create this culture where we're not always showing that like the best kind of moms are the ones that do everything and make it look effortless and never have a bad day, because I just don't feel like that's real. And I feel like it does a disservice to all the women watching.
Absolutely. I'm totally on the same page with you. I'm at this point, I think supermom exists, but I think we have to redefine what it is. So supermom can be the mom that's getting it all done, but she's also very transparent and vulnerable when those crappy days are crappy days and she is okay with it. Or she's not okay with it and she's having a complete meltdown when someone says good morning. So I think that's a supermom, when you can just be okay with whatever feelings you're having for the day. You can wake up on the good side, and then my son starts wailing as soon as he opens his eyes. And I'm like, you haven't even, we haven't even done anything. Why are you crying? And I was like, well, we'll see how today goes.
Yeah.
And you just have to rock with it. So I think, you know, a supermom does exist, but I think we have to redefine what it means, and adding some realness to it.
Yes. I love that. And also you said this, but like, how does it feel? You know, like when I see a woman who's quote unquote got it all together and she's, you know, running her life, and it looks very well managed, that's totally fine. But I'm like, how do you feel? You know? And so if that feels really good, I actually talk about this. I was like talking about this with a client today, because sometimes women are triggered during the holidays by other moms because like, oh, there's like, let's say the mom who bakes all the cookies. Let's like the cliche Christmas mom or Father Christmas mother, as I like to say. But anyway, so let's say you see that woman and you're like, she's like trying so hard. But I'm like, well, if she is doing that because that really energizes her and that fills her up and it feels really good, hell yeah, like you do you know, like more power to you. Cause it's like, I think supermom is a feeling, you know, if you're like momming from that place of power.
Yeah, absolutely. Like the fact that you were able to even cook those cookies and, and you know, you had time to do that. I think that's an achievement by itself. So I'm not a cookie mom. I don't know what type of mom I am for the holidays yet.
Well, it's like so how old I saw a picture of your baby at the last Christmas, and he was like 2 months old or something, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like he had absolutely no clue what was going on. He was just there. This year, CJ is definitely here, and makes his presence very known, but he still doesn't know what's going on. So if I gave him pots and pans Christmas morning,
I know
he would be totally cool with it. So I think I'm kind of going into the hole of the mom that does too much. So like
first time kid, first Christmas, that's your rite of passage.
So my husband is like, why do we have all of these gifts under the tree? Like, and I was like, but I don't know. And I'm wrapping everything. And he was like, why are you wrapping the gifts? Like, what are you doing? And so I bought this like huge blow up as one of his like main gifts. So it's like one of the moon bounces. And Chris was like, so we'll just put it in the house, right? And I was like, oh no, this is one that adults can get into. And he was like, why did you get one so big? I was like, well, I don't see. So I like rationalized it. I was like, well, we don't want our 1-year-old to be in a moon bounce by itself. So it needs to hold the weight of an adult. So I have like this massive moon bounce that we're going to blow up Christmas morning. And I was like, oh, Jay, you're the mom that is doing way too much.
I love that story. Literally my first podcast interview on this pod, I interviewed, this friend of mine, Brittany Irvin, and she talked about when I interviewed her, she was like 1,000 weeks pregnant with her third baby. And she was saying like, you know, like, I don't have time to go to the pumpkin patch with my kid and take pictures. She was like, really like kind of in that place of like, who are these women going to the pumpkin patch? And then I asked her on the pod, I was like, but I have a question. Did you go to the pumpkin patch when your daughter was born? And she was like, oh, hell yeah. I wore my high heels. I was wearing a skirt. There was a line. There was traffic. We got out. I walked half a mile carrying her. She was like 6 months old to the pumpkin patch. And I was like, and there is my point. We are all the mom who goes to the pumpkin patch at one point, and it's a rite of passage, and you should not take it away from anyone because you need to have your own journey.
Yes, you're absolutely right. Yeah, yeah. So I'm the same way. I'm like, no, I'm gonna, we'll do it low key for Christmas, and then here I am buying way too many toys for a 15-month-old that really is okay with pots and pans.
Wait, what is your husband like? Like, what is your partnership like? Like, does he buy? Well, I guess this is new for you because, like, for us now we have a 7-year-old, so my husband and I are both tag teaming a lot of Christmas stuff because it feels like a lot more pressure to perform than when they were 1. But what has your partnership been like since your son has been born?
My husband is the complete opposite of me. He has more willpower and restraint, and he comes from, he's that old school thinking, you got to save for a rainy day. So, and I'm the spender. So he has to balance me out, and he's like, Jay, he's 15 months old. Like, and he's okay with like, let's take pictures and let's create memories. Not go buy a $500 blow up.
He's like the voice of reason.
Exactly. The voice of reason. So, you know, he has to rationalize and bring me down to earth sometimes. So that's our, and then our communication style, it's weird. Like, as much as I'm in the communication field, I don't communicate well. So when I'm super heated or emotional about something, I just kind of shut down. Where he wants to talk it out, and he wants to let things. He's a thinker, and I'm just like,
Is he like a feeler too? Like he wants to like talk about his feelings?
Very much so. Very much so. Whereas me, I can be. My nickname is, Ice Princess. So
I do not see that for you.
Yeah, I can be sometimes. I think motherhood has, warmed up that shell a little bit, but I can be,
cold, icy heart is thawing.
Sometimes I can. I admit it.
I love that. Yeah, my husband is super, super, well, he's a scientist. He's a marine biologist. And so he's like the grounded, earthy one. And I'm like head in the clouds, like, these are our dreams. But then also I'm like the one who's like, we need to talk about this. And he's like, I thought we did talk about it. I'm like, no, I didn't finish my thought. We gotta complete, like a very coachy thing to say, like literally how I was taught when I certified is at the end of every session, you say, are you complete? Like literally, do you feel complete? And so I'm like, I don't feel complete. We didn't finish. So it's so funny. Like poor guy. He's like, why do we have to talk about our feelings so much?
Right. Well, yeah, I'm on his ship.
Yeah. And also I wanted to tell you, when you're talking about Christmas cookies, I literally Easter cookies got me so bad this year, and I was like, I'm gonna be this woman. I want to, bake these sugar cookies with my daughters. I'm gonna roll out the dough. I got these freaking Easter egg shape and like chicks and flowers. And I got the cookie cutter and I was rolling the dough, and my daughter has a dairy allergy. So everything we make is pretty much vegan, especially when we're baking. It's always like substituting the milk for the plant-based milk and the whatever, but it's really annoying because then when you do like icing, you can use butter. So long story short, it ended up taking hours. I'm talking hours. And I was so stressed out. I was literally on the verge of tears when my husband came, and I think I just wanted it to be done. Like I just had no idea how much time baking cookies could take. And I was not mentally prepared for that. Cause I'm a person that needs to like mentally prepare for things. And so if in my mind, this was going to be, 45 minutes and now we're on like 2.5 hours. Like I was losing my shit, and my girls were watching me literally on the verge of tears because I was so frustrated. And I was like, all right, girls, mommy's very overwhelmed right now. Mommy's going to take a few deep breaths, which is not always how I handle things, but in that moment I was. And then I felt so embarrassed because the babysitter came that night because I was going somewhere. And when I came back from a date or whatever, she was like, yeah, the girls were telling me how you were super overwhelmed baking cookies. And you were like, wow, mommy's overwhelmed and needs to take a few deep breaths. And I was like, horrible experience. Moving on from Father Christmas, Mother. Okay. So what is your juggle? Like before we hit record, you were telling me a little bit, you started telling me what your current schedule is like. And you were saying like your husband teaches during the day and then you have to work after he's done. So like, treat me like I know nothing and tell me, what is your pandemic schedule like?
So my pandemic schedule, it requires a lot of scheduling, and that's probably the hardest thing. So my husband is completely unavailable, virtually teaching fourth grade from like 8 to 2 every day. So I am in full-time mommy mode every day. So it's and obviously CJ is 15 months, so he's at the age where if you turn your head, you're going to turn around, and he's not there, and he's into something. If it's quiet, it means trouble.
I know.
So he's either he may be even eating the dog food, or he's terrorizing Luna, which is our lab, or he's in the toilet, or I don't know. He's just doing something that he's not supposed to be doing. So I can't trying to say, oh, I'll answer emails or take a conference call. Not happening until like 4 p.m. when my husband is completely done with work.
Did you try at first though? Like, were you at first when it happened, were you like, oh, I'll just work from home and mom at the same time, and it went really poorly?
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously he was younger and he wasn't walking when I tried it. Now that he's mobile, that's a whole different ballgame.
It's awful.
Whole different ballgame. There's no getting work done once they're mobile. So the good thing about it is my son has a great sleeping schedule. So I just really grind it out once he's down for the night up until like midnight, and then I crash. So he sleeps from like 8 to 8. And so we're able to get some work done or do some things that we're just not able to get to during the day. So that's pretty much our schedule every day. And then I don't like monotony and getting like into this rut. So like the other day I was like, I'm not going to schedule any meetings today. Let's just go look at Christmas lights. And we just have to switch up the schedule. Or let's go to the mall. We have an outdoor mall here. Let's go to the mall and see the Christmas lights and go into Crate and Barrel. I just got to do something to break this monotony. So that's pretty much our pandemic schedule.
And you do that so you're working as a public relations, because you have a lot of things. You have your hands in a lot of pots. So
I have my own. I have about 3 clients that I manage: communications, marketing, social media.
Okay.
That probably takes up to about 20 hours a week. And then I manage BGR full time as well. So obviously in the pandemic, nothing is happening in person, but you still you're maintaining things behind the scenes in terms of just regular business operations. So it's quite a bit to juggle at times, but in this virtual space it's actually probably a little bit easier because I'm not traveling right now. So but mommying and full-time entrepreneur is real.
I can't believe that you grind it out until midnight. Like I have to, well, you know what? I can believe it, but it feels like so long ago, so long ago, 6 years ago, when I was so much younger and full of life and vigor. And I could do the same. I could work at 11 o'clock at night. And I remember doing it after, when I first became an entrepreneur. And so Aria at my first was 1 or 2, or even 2.5. And now I've tried, so skipping over the next few years, but I've tried it since having my third. So this interview is at 7 p.m. And this, I was like, okay, 7 p.m. I can do. I still am alive and awake and fine. But one of my other interviews I did, I think it was at 8. And it was hard for me to watch that interview because I could just see I'm just the ship is powering down. The battery is I just literally don't have the energy. I don't, where did it go? I don't know. I'm so impressed by you. But you have such a good attitude. This is actually something I was thinking about in preparation for this conversation. I do feel like you, even when I met you at RebelleCon, I feel like you have just a great positive attitude. Is that just naturally who you are, or?
I think motherhood, like I said, motherhood has softened my shell a lot, has exposed emotions in me that I was like, oh my gosh, this really exists. Why am I crying? Because the mailman just, the mailman just made the dog make the baby cry, like, and I'm boo-hooing. So it's exposed a lot of emotions that I hadn't tapped into before. And I think with that, I'm like, okay, if my child is safe, he's well, he's fed, he's not crying, my husband's happy, our marriage is good, like everything else doesn't have to be that serious. Like, just laugh it off, press mute and, re-record, take it out of the final recording and everything will be okay. So I guess I have the mindset that it's not that serious. And just to enjoy, I think this pandemic has just revealed we have to enjoy just being present. I was on a plane every weekend, traveling here and there. And now it's just like, oh, like I can't go anywhere. So let me just enjoy the simple blessings. So yeah, that's kind of my mindset now. But trust me, pre-motherhood, I don't think I realized these small blessings.
That's beautiful.
I took a lot for granted. For granted.
Well, why don't you tell us about that? So obviously, you were very public about your experience with postpartum depression. How old or how many months postpartum were you when you were diagnosed with that?
It hit me, it probably hit me about 6 weeks after. So it was probably like he was born 2 days late. He came mid-September, probably towards the end of October. So like that 6-week threshold. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't like, it's weird. You do all of those checkups, those wellness checks with your kid at the pediatrician, and they send you, and they give you this form every time you go for the mom to fill out. And it's like, have you been crying more than usual? Yep. And have you had these particular thoughts? And it's like, for anybody that answers no, you all need to check them out. Like, so it's like, so I was never diagnosed, but it was just one day, I swear we were in a good routine in the morning. I went running, everything was good. And then we couldn't just, me and him weren't in sync. And like the realization, like I had no control, like that whole just get up and go, my independence, all of that, like would no longer exist. And all of those emotions just hit me that day. And I just had a rough time. They give you like this 6-week unpractical number. Oh, that's when you'll bounce back. That's when you'll feel better. Yeah. And it took me like 4 months to like get to like some type of hormonal balance where I just wasn't crying at the drop of a dime. And it was just a lot. My body, I had a great pregnancy. I had what they would consider, I guess, like an easy labor, but my postpartum recovery was really rough. I had, severe tearing. So I wasn't able to get back to the pavement like I thought I was. It took me, I had tipped the scale over 300 pounds when I went into the hospital, and it's taken me over a year to lose all of this weight. So, they tell you about that bounce back. No, ma'am, not over here.
Over a year. Like, so you said you lost how many pounds?
I'm at 100 and almost 20 pounds lost since having my son.
Okay. To me, 120 pounds lost in 1 year sounds insanely fast. Since this pandemic, I've been like running like crazy. So I'm like doing like half marathons just on like a random Tuesday. So my running has become like my outlet to turn things off. Totally. Yeah. So I've like put a lot of energy into running, probably too much. And it's not too.
The weight, and I'm still nursing. This is a whole nother podcast to talk about, but my son will not wean. So for all the moms that are listening to this, boy moms, tell me how to get my son off the girls.
Hear that? Boy moms, her son is addicted to her boobs.
Yes. I thought 1 year, I was like, yeah, we're done. 1 year. Mm-hmm. Here we are, 15 months, and he's still.
Isn't it always something? It's just, and then here I am, and I'm like, my son wouldn't latch onto my boobs. Not even.
I tell you, it's a double-edged sword. They don't tell you. They don't talk about this.
I mean, I try. I feel like we try. You and I try.
I don't know. We went to all those dumbass classes. I apologize to the beautiful woman that she was, that she like pushed out like 2 sets of twins, and she never had a PowerPoint presentation, and she just spoke so fluidly at these birthing classes. I don't know what she was talking about. I think
they should have literally like people like us speak at birthing classes.
Absolutely.
You know,
like people that have fresh minds,
like a positive mindset. You know, like not like this is going to be horrible. Your life is about to end because I mean, partly true, but no, but it's all good stuff. But also I think you need the real stuff. Like there was literally a couple girls that would come when the Champagne Society was a live event series before Corona. There was a couple girls that were not even pregnant, but just like were like on the horizon. They knew they wanted to get pregnant, and they would come. And when I would talk to them, they were like, I want to know like what you guys are talking about. Like, I want to be prepared. And I was like, honestly, that's my style. But a lot of people are like, I don't want to know. Like, I don't want to, like, just don't even tell me. I just want to get there.
What's so funny is when I had that particular, like the onset of postpartum depression, I think I sent a nasty gram to like 20 girlfriends that had kids. And I was like, hey, you know, not in an inappropriate word. Like, you guys didn't tell me my hair would be shedding, my boots would feel like I have bricks on me, like I don't have time to take a shower. Like, none of you all told me all of this. And most of them replied back, we completely shut that out. Like,
yes. You get that a lot. Literally.
Like, they once that book was closed, they never reopened that book. And I was like, yeah, y'all could have just gave me a heads up like this was happening. Cause I was like, oh, my hair is growing. And then he hit like 4 months old. And I was like, oh, now all of it is coming out. Like, what is going what is going on? But it was like, oh my God, it's so much they don't tell you. And I'm like, mothers have been having babies for centuries. Yeah. Like, why am I just experiencing this by myself, like right now? But then when I start talking about it, moms are just like, girl, you got it. Like, you good.
Yeah. No, I'm not good. This is not okay. I am asking for support.
It's been amazing. Motherhood is, let me flip it real quick. I would not, you know, the feeling that you have when your child just stares at you in your face and you are the only one that can be there saving grace to keep them from crying and all, or when he runs up to you and all of his body weight knocks you against your knees, like that feeling is just amazing. But motherhood, it's a different type of hood.
I love that. And I totally agree. And I mean, I feel like I can say all these things too, because I've clearly chosen to have 3 children. So like, obviously I'm being brutally honest and funny about it, but obviously I'm into it because I did it 3 times.
I'm into it. I agree with you. It's like we talk about all this craziness and then we're just like, so are you ready for number 2?
We're gonna do this again?
Yeah. Gervase, you lost me on number 3, but I can do it again.
I lost a lot of people on number 3. I can't tell you the number of people that were like, 3? Why not 2? 2's good. See it 2.
We're good on 2. So yeah, but I'm with you though. I'm like, yeah, we talk about all of this mayhem that's happening, but we're like, yeah, I'll do it again. Yeah. Are you ready for number 2?
Aren't women amazing? I just literally feel like women are so amazing whenever, especially when they talk about, you know, having babies. And I think obviously there's a cliche, like my husband and my cousin are always like, oh, we can never top the fact that like you guys pushed, you know, having babies. And I'm like, no. You really can't. Like you,
no, my husband
really can't even imagine.
Like, he said that after me, you know, that craziness that we experienced in the labor room. He was like, yeah, I'm pretty convinced like Jesus Christ is a woman. like what just happened to your body right now? He was like, men aren't even built for it. And I was like, yeah.
And then the body, then the human body is also like, to me, I don't know how, if you experience this, but like for me, especially after my 3rd, I felt this like a new level of despair after the baby was born of like, oh my God, no, like my body's definitely ruined now. Like surely there's no way I can bounce back, air quotes, from this shit. Like this is really the bottom of the bottom for me. And sure enough, I mean, I would hardly say that I've bounced back, but it's like even little things like as you know, the first time I ran again without feeling like my body was like flailing in different directions or I was going to pee myself or something. I was like, this is incredible. Like I remember not so long ago when I literally was on the bathroom floor crying, like I'll never walk again, you know, or I'll never, you know, like when I was 9 months pregnant, my baby was very large. He was 9 pounds something. And his head, he had a huge head, very large head, and it was very low. And so as I was like walking around, I would have that thing, the lightning crotch, you know, and I just was like, I can't even walk. I literally can't walk. I'm waddling around in excruciating pain, and I'll clearly never walk again. This is it for me. And then, you know, I think about that now, like he's turning 1 on Thursday, and I can walk just fine. Everything is okay in case anybody's concerned. And I'm like, wow, the human body is,
it's amazing,
mind-blowingly magnificent.
Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah, but your body will like take that 6 weeks out, but because everyone is completely different, but your body will heal itself. It will get back to a point where, yeah, you're made to make babies.
Yeah.
And you just have to give yourself some time, some grace, you know, some tears, some pain, all of that. But it's when you're in the midst of it, yeah, it's rough.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay. So, and like I had postpartum depression after my first, when she was 4-ish months old, and I went back to work, and it was a really bad situation for me, and I was just super unhappy. And then I experienced it again around the same time as you. So, well, no, you said October of 2019 is when you had it.
Yeah. October. It I wasn't cleared to run probably until about 3 months, until he was about 3 months old. I wasn't cleared to run. Cause like I said, I had 3rd degree tearing. So it was, my body had to do a whole lot of figuring out what's going on. So it wasn't until I was able to get back on the pavement and leave my child and feel comfortable leaving my child with someone else that my hormones started to get back to normal. So I would probably, it probably took a few months before I was like feeling like, okay, I think I recognize who this JL is now.
So then did you, well, actually, I hope you don't mind me asking this, but if you do, we'll just cut it out. Did you take antidepressants for your postpartum, or do you feel like you healed it with running?
Yeah, like I said, once I was cleared to go back to the pavement, like as soon as I left the doctor, I was calling my 2 regular soul sisters up, and I was like, hey y'all, I'm ready. 7:30 tomorrow morning. Like, what we doing? I was like, and they were like, yeah, we can do 4 or 5 miles. And I was like, hey, I just had a baby. I'm ready.
Around the block.
They had kids a long time ago. And so what I was experiencing was, different for them, that's a whole nother conversation. Like my mom is like, what are you going through? Like, what is this? Yeah. But so, even going out to run my first couple of miles, but yeah, I poured everything into fitness, health, because I saw immediate change with me. Once I saw the weight coming off and I was just feeling better about my body, that just changed everything else. So I was able to kind of pull myself out of that kind of that postpartum area.
That's really impressive that you were able to even go for the run. Cause I found for me, I was doing all the things to mitigate the depression, because it happened like kind of with the onset of Corona. And then it was like 2 really challenging months in all the ways before I finally was like, I think this is postpartum. I think I need meds. But by the time I was diagnosed, it was like, I needed the meds to put the fire out, because I wouldn't get to the pavement. It was like, I needed to feel, well again before I could even do the working out, if that makes sense.
I get it. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, I definitely poured a lot into running. Like I never thought I was going to, I haven't been this size since like college. I haven't been this in shape probably since
you look
like
amazing.
high school. So I just poured, but I think sometimes I have to like, all right, JL, just don't go running today. Like, let your body heal. I think I've probably put so much into running that it's just like, okay, your body is just like, you just ran like a 7.5 mile. Like, you're doing way too much right now, JL. So sometimes I have to pull myself back because I think I'm probably doing too much. But it's like, no, when I go running, I just feel so much better.
Yeah.
So I never got to the point that I needed meds or anything, but I definitely poured a lot into people in terms of like, I needed support. I had to have a come to Jesus moment with my husband. Like, hey, what's going on right now? Like, I need you to show up a little bit more because I'm just not I'm not there right now. Yeah. We just had to kind of push through it. But yeah, I definitely poured a lot into running just to really help me with my hormones and just kind of getting back to normal.
Yeah. No, I appreciate your perspective. And no woman goes through the same. It's so different for everyone. That's why I love talking about it and hearing different women's experiences, because it doesn't manifest the same in anybody.
Yeah, and it probably changes from child to child as well.
Yeah. For me, it has, but whatever. Not about me. Question. So when you said that to your husband, were you kind of insinuating, I need to focus on me, you need to carry me kind of a thing? Because I know I've had a lot of conversations like that with my partner where there's times where I need to pour into myself even more than normal. And I literally say like, pass you the baton. I need you to carry us, like carry us over the finish line. I can't do this right now. And then once I pour into myself, I feel really good. And then it feels so great to be like, I am back. And like, what do you need? I'm here. And like, I want to meet you 100%. Was it like that? Or was it?
It was exactly like that. Like, I need to pour into myself. I need to feel some type of normal, like, okay, I need to make time where I can get up in the morning, 7 a.m., go for a run. I need to feel like I did something for myself today. And I think that was that come to Jesus, if you will, conversation to say a lot is going on with me internally. And if I don't get to a place where if I don't find time to give back to myself, I'm going to get to a breaking point.
Yeah.
And I never wanted to get to that place. I don't like feeling overwhelmed. And I'm very type A in terms of sticking to a schedule and checking off things. And I was like, oh my God, the house is dirty, the laundry, the cooking, oh my God, what is going, like, and I still have this baby here that's crying and I don't know what to do. So it was like all of those things. And sometimes it's just hard for me to process when I feel overwhelmed and I just need to like press pause. And it's like, here, you have the baby. Mommy's going to go upstairs and just close the door and just be quiet. Yeah. That's all I need. It's just quietness. So yeah, it was exactly what you said. Like, I'm passing the baton, and I'm going to need for you to kind of pick up my slack right now.
I love it. Yeah. I know it's like, sometimes I feel like it's either everything is falling apart, everything is bad, the house is a mess, the baby's crying, or you're like, I got this. Like, there's nothing in between. My house is never just like kind of messy. It's literally like all my kids are screaming at me. Dinner's not made. The house is a freaking disaster. There's laundry everywhere. And I want to cry because I've not either worked out or done anything for myself. And I'm also behind on everything I need to be behind on. Or I have a day like today and I'm like, I'm the fucking boss. Like, no in between.
That's
no balance whatsoever. It's just
totally facts.
Pendulum.
Totally facts. That just described motherhood to a T. To a T. Yes. Either everything's going to hell or we're just like cruising.
Or you're a boss. Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about Black Girls Run. Because I actually didn't realize, I mean, obviously it was just from following you on the gram. that you worked there, that it was an established organization that you worked for, and then you became the CEO because they were like, I'm bored. Let me just add something. So can you explain this transition, please?
Yeah. So I came on board with BGR actually back in 2011. They had just launched. They were like launching running groups all over the country, getting a lot of national media attention. And they needed somebody to come on board and just kind of help them with the brand. I had just graduated grad school, got introduced to our co-founders. And I just learned like the business in and out. Everything. I was just kind of the right-hand person for our co-founders. And then you fast forward, my role with them I went from volunteer intern to paid contractor to managing sponsorships and races and just learned everything in and out. And then at the end of 2017, we kind of just reached a crossroads where they didn't know what was next for BGR. And their relationship was taking an impact on the business. And we were shopping the business around to like other companies, and nothing came to fruition. And I was like, yeah, I don't know what's next type of thing. And they were like, well, JL, why don't you buy it? And I was like, no, I'm good. Like my husband and I, we at that time we were thinking about expanding our family. We were like, let's get, we need to pay off some debt. We just bought a house. Like, let's just like get established first. And I wasn't in the mindset, let's make a major business decision and put ourselves in even more debt. And I was like, I just kept toying around with it. And then, like I mentioned, my husband is the penny pincher. And he's just like, they're asking for how much? And I was like, yeah, just go to the bank and I'll get a loan and we'll just pay it off. Like,
Monopoly, get on board.
It's a successful business. I'm not, buying into, a lemon. Like it's a good established business. And he was like, yeah, I don't know, Jay. So I pitched it to some family members. Literally, it was like this time 3 years ago, pitched it to some family members, and they were like, and mind you, through this entire process, like I've bought my mom and my aunts to like the BGR conferences. So they've seen BGR, they know how passionate I'm about it. And literally I had my mom, my dad, my aunt, one of Chris's cousins, two of my girlfriends, like 7 people. They were like 7 family members. They were like, Jay, hell yeah, this is what you're supposed to do. Like you love BGR. And literally they wrote me a check, passed me checks and was like, go pursue your dreams, and pay us back when you can. And it was as easy as that. And literally the acquisition was done 4 months later in 2018. And here we are 2.5 years later.
Wait, that is such a touching story that I feel like you don't hear enough.
Yeah, it was surreal. And like, in 2 years, all of my angel investors, if you will, all of them have been paid back. And they're like, do you need more money? Like, and I'm like, well, do I have to pay you back again? Like, so it's been very it's been a blessing, like to be able to be now a full-time entrepreneur. I was able to step away from my 9-to-5 job 6 months after the acquisition was complete. So it's been a journey like anything else, like motherhood. It has its ebbs and flows. I'm like, oh my gosh, do I need to go get a job at like Burger King? Like, what is happening right now? Like, and then the pandemic came and I was like, oh my God, no more races? Like, I need to go get a job. Like, so, your emotions go like, this is a business entrepreneur. Like, oh, we're good. And then you're like, oh my God, what is going on? So of course I've had those days, but the transition was pretty easy to say the least. Like I said, I had just phenomenal family and friends that were able to back me with that business decision. And it's been successful over the last couple of years.
You know what? I didn't even think about the fact that, okay, first, I think I should have started by having you explain what Black Girls Run is. Because now everybody's like, what the F is BGR? So first, can you explain what it is? I kind of want to talk about how the pandemic affected that business.
Yeah, so Black Girls Run, in a nutshell, we are a national running organization, literally. We started back in 2009 as a blog, and 2009 is when social media was taking off. Blogging wasn't like the industry it is now, and so I really consider BGR as being the pioneers of what we talk about now, kind of like this coin term of building community. And so a decade ago, we started building these small communities of Black women across the country that were looking to become healthy and fit. And they started signing up for races. And it's grown over the last decade to like 75 groups across the country. Wow. We have 250,000 members and continuing to grow. We have like 200 ambassadors. So we have built a community within the running space where women can come together, no matter if they're getting off the couch for the first time or you're an ultra marathoner. We just create safe space for women to feel comfortable and encouraged on the pavement as they start their health and fitness journey.
Wow, that is so awesome. And also like ties in so perfectly with your journey.
Oh,
So
yeah, absolutely.
You were a runner before, or did you become a runner because of BGR?
I started running a couple of years before I was introduced to them. I had hit my then heaviest weight and had just started running on my own, and then was introduced to BGR. And just, obviously got hooked to running since then.
Mm-hmm. And then what are they doing? So with the pandemic, so I guess people pay to sign up to race, right? Is that how it works?
So like no races are happening right now. Like everything, I don't even know when the racing world will like resume back to normal, which is, because we're in the industry of mass gatherings.
Yeah. But outside, and, maybe.
Outside, but people are sweating. People, you're passing each other. And it's 30,000, 40,000 people. Like, that's COVID paradise. So we're in a very, like much of the world, we're in a virtual space right now. So we're doing a lot of virtual challenges. The first 3 months of the pandemic, we were offering free fitness classes every evening just for women to feel like they were something virtually connected to something, but then also just to keep women healthy physically and mentally. Because I think the pandemic has just had even much of a mental toll on people. So, we've created these challenges and we've seen running actually increase. We've seen like a 30% increase in terms of our membership base of women. I think this may be like people are able to, they don't have to come out physically to a run. So that's removed that kind of intimidation factor. Like, oh, I'm not a runner, or, oh, I don't run fast. Well, now you can run on your own and still engage with everyone. And it's like an even playing field for everyone now. So the pandemic has definitely required some adjustments. That's for sure. And like, probably like most people, I didn't think we would be in this long. But it's definitely, from a good side, from a business owner perspective, it's like, okay, we can cut some stuff out and moving forward, be a lot more efficient in terms of how we operate as a business. So it's definitely been some learning curves.
Yeah. I mean, I can't imagine when you got the news about the pandemic. I was in the event space, obviously. So I was I was a little bummed out, but it wasn't like 30,000 people at an event. It was more like 50 to 100. So yeah, I feel like that for you is really quite the pivot, So
yeah, it was tough. It was tough. Like we literally had a race that we had just had a major half marathon in Miami, like 3 weeks before, where we had like 1,000 women down in Miami running a half and a full. And then the pandemic happened and we were supposed to be flying out. We were supposed to be headed to Alabama that following week for a 50-mile relay. And I was like, races are being canceled. And again, going back to my husband's like, we need to go to Sam's Club and we need to go stock up on meats and toilet tissue. And I'm like, the world is on fire. And he was like, get yourself together. I'm headed to Sam's Club. And I'm like, yep. So, Mr. Rational. And then I'm over here like melting, like, we can't go to Alabama.
Same. Like literally the same. Like I had an event next week and I was like, should I have the event or not? And Kevin's like stocking up. Meanwhile, he's just like you know, fortifying the home base. But then I'm like, thank you for being who you are, because like we would die if it was up to me. I'm pretty like I
had a complete meltdown in the kitchen.
Damn.
Complete meltdown. And he was like, all right, you get yourself together. I'm headed to Sam's.
Yep.
Like, we need to go stock up on everything. Yep. And literally, he was probably one of the first people. Like, we didn't get caught in that mayhem where like toilet tissue was out. He was literally one of the first people. Like, all right, I need to go to Sam's Club and we need to go stock up. Like, he's just always in like this, the world coming to an end mindset, which is really weird. But I'm fortunate for it.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's a counterbalance. It's a counterbalance. I really do appreciate it. The older I get, the longer we've been together, the more I appreciate it, because I see my flaws more clearly now, and I'm like, yeah, no, we need you. I'm like, do we need me? We need me too, right? Yeah. Okay. So yeah. Okay. Last thing I wanted to ask you about is your book. Dear Mommy, I Love You? Is that what
yep, Dear Mommy, I Love You. Yeah, it was. I was when I came, I wrote it with my son. Yeah, I wrote it when my son was 6 months old. It was my first time away from him. I had gone on a trip out of the country. My husband had my son for a full 8 days by himself. And I was just able to be, and I was on a cruise. So, you know, communication is limited on a cruise. So I could only check in when you only had Wi-Fi in your room. Mm-hmm. So I could only check in like in the morning and in the evening. So it was really that was like the perfect time for me just to like, okay, JL, what are you doing? You know, what's your next steps? You know, you're a mom now, like just, you know, how are you going to move forward, you know, getting to this new normal, what have you. And I just had like this creative burst. I was like, hey, everything that I've experienced over the last 6 months, I need to like put it in a book that my son, like it's creating legacy. My son can look back and say, hey, my mom created this. Other women can purchase it. And it's just a children's book, but it literally, it really visually tells the relationship that my son and I had during my experience with postpartum depression. Like the look he would give me as if he knew exactly what was going on. Mm-hmm. And he was telling me and reassuring me that I was going to be okay. Mm-hmm. And so I was able to put that in the book. I released it out on Mother's Day earlier this year. And it's been, you know, several moms have been like, this is exactly what I needed. Or, you know, I've had where our local social services was able to purchase several copies for like single moms, just to give them. So it's been used in different capacities that I never imagined. And it really was, my sole purpose was using it as probably like a healing process for me. But it's been able to be an inspiration for so many other mothers as well. So it, even in the midst of a pandemic, I was able to publish a book.
Oh, I cannot wait to buy a bunch for everybody I know, because I didn't know that was like I stumbled upon it. So yeah, I'm super impressed by you. Everybody go out, get that book, Dear Mommy, I Love You. The last question I want to ask you is what I always ask people. If you could go back in time to yourself pre-pregnancy, like you've not become pregnant or had your son yet, and knowing everything that you now know about what it has entailed to become a mother, what advice would you give yourself?
Oh my gosh. Where do I even begin? I don't even know. Like probably the biggest thing for me is like, JL, you don't always have to be in control. Like, just let things happen. And I think, and that's a lesson that I'm still learning right now. Like you can't, if a 15-month-old does not want to go to sleep right now, he's not going to go to sleep, and it's okay. He's going to feel the effects of it later, but right now he's not going to sleep. So just enjoy the moment. And probably the second thing I'll add in there is just to be present. Again, type A personality. I'm always planning, okay, what do I have to do next week? And what's tomorrow? And what, let me go ahead and like right now I'm in Christmas mode. I'm like, what do I need to go to the grocery store because I need to cook and the turkey needs to be set out. And it's like, and it's like, JL, just enjoy right now. Your son is teething and he's bouncing off the walls. Everything else will take care of itself, but just enjoy the moment. Don't miss these moments that will be, you know, distant memories very soon. So those are probably the two things: be present, but then also knowing you can't control everything.
Amazing. Perfect. Beautiful. So well put too, because it's so true. The control thing that is a big, big, big adjustment for most of us when we become moms, because we're like, wait, I am used to being a boss of my life. And you still can be, but it does take a softening of some definitions of control, I think. So I think that's great advice. Okay. I want to end by acknowledging you, Jay, for just being such a bright light and such just this magnetic, joyful presence in person, from afar, on social media. You know, I obviously don't get to be near you very often since you live in Richmond, but thank you for your bright light in the world and your authenticity. It's so refreshing and lovely. And everybody go, you tell them, how can they keep in touch with you and support the work that you're doing with Black Girls Run?
Yeah. So if you want to continue to follow my craziness on social media, just head to my website, JLAlexander.com. All of the social media links are there, as well as a link to my book also that's available on Amazon. And for Black Girls Run, if you have, once we get back to the running space, definitely follow us and join us at a race. But you can virtually engage with our groups right now. We have some awesome virtual challenges happening. So follow Black Girls Run on all of our social media platforms, and you can head to our website, blackgirlsrun.com, to find a group near you. And that's it.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing. And thank you for your time and your work. This was a delight. This was the best way to spend my evening. Thank you so much.
Nice. Thank you.
Bye.